Welcome back to Beyond the Charts, episode 2. We took a little break because my co host, Emmanuel, was in Italy. How was it, man? How was your trip?
It was unreal. I went for 10 days. I went to Rome, Florence, Milan, Bologna, and it was unreal. Honestly, it was like my first time in Europe. I went to Sweden once, but it was just amazing experience. Like I'm so glad I took time off.
You,
And
you didn't do any trading. Did you do any trading, anything?
I did essentially zero work completely. Like I did a little bit of research on the topic that we're actually going to discuss today. Gonna not talk about
Okay.
that yet, but yeah, I essentially did zero work. I was just so burnt out before, and I didn't even realize I was burnt out until I came back, and now I'm like back into trading, back to working, and I feel like a completely new person. So,
And it's important because we talk about psychology like often as day traders, and we forget it's like there's a level of work hard, study, back test, trade, but also there's a level that's like, hey, you're getting burned out and you're getting that fatigue that if you take a step back, you take a week off, even though it's very hard. And I know because when I have to take some time off, I struggle not being on the charts, but it helps you long term. It's almost like when you work out, you need that day or 2 days off to let your muscle heal. It's very similar. Like, now you came back and you're probably trading even better than you were before, or like, how's your trading?
100%. So, this was the first break I ever took from trading. I never took more than like 2 or 3 days off in a row in like 4.5 years, ever since I started trading. And I love trading. I love being on the charts. I actually promised my girlfriend before the trip that I wasn't going to look at anything because she was like, listen, you need a break. So that's exactly what I did. And yeah, I came back and I felt so like revitalized, really like a completely new person. And the biggest difference, and yeah, like you need a break. Like I never realized. I always actually tell my students that hey, it's good to take a break sometimes, but I've never done it myself. And then I actually took a break and I came back and I feel I'm not overthinking anything. I'm just doing, I'm just acting based off my instincts. And yeah, like the first 2 days I came back like both obviously like good green days and I felt really good about it too.
Well, I think also it like reignites your passion. It's almost when like you start missing it a little bit. Then once you finally are back, you're like, damn, I'm ready to go 100 times stronger.
Hmm.
So I haven't taken a whole week off. I think from when I started day trading, I think I plan to because I'm going to Japan on the 13th. I think I'm finally gonna take a full week off. Usually I've taken like 2 or 3 days, or maybe I'll just get on the charts. I might not take a trade, but I'll still watch the charts. Because again, like you said, it's like we love the shit that we do, and whenever you day trade, I think you have to love doing it because it's such a difficult skill that nobody's behind you to push you, make sure you're doing the right things. That unless you do love it, it's very difficult to make money, right? Because at the end of the day, the market doesn't care about you.
100%. I feel like a lot of people want to get into day trading because they're like, oh, I'm my own boss. I can take off whenever I want. I can work whenever I want. I can take a vacation. And it's funny that once you're actually into it, you never want to take off. You always want to trade. And I just find that so funny because that's like one of the pros about being a trader. Yet we never really take advantage of it. We're always on the charts. We're always trading just because we have that passion and we have that love for the game. You know what I mean? And that love, that passion is what makes us good traders in the first place.
And also to go along with what you just said is whenever you are a day trader, there is an element of, hey, I have my routine. I get up, I go to my computer. When I'm not at home, when I'm in another country, it's a different time zone. It's a different setup. I'm on my laptop. I'm not on my nice, 40-inch computer screen. And all those things kind of play an effect on how you're going to perform in the game. So for me, even like when people say, hey, you can be a day trader, just travel the world and, be on your laptop and trade, for me is that I know I perform the best when I have a routine, when I'm home, when I'm dialed in. If I'm traveling, it's like, hey, it's 3:30 p.m. in Italy and the market just opened, but I want an aperitivo, I want to get a coffee, I want to go out. It's very difficult to be as locked in as when you're home. So that's why I think the best benefit is like, hey, I'm gonna trade, I'm gonna go hard, I'll make money. Then I'm gonna take a week, 2 weeks off even. Some people I know take a month and then take that time to reset yourself, come back and make even more money, right?
100%. You need to have structure in your day. You need to have a routine. And yeah, even sometimes, like for example, I go back home to where I grew up in New Jersey and I have like a mini little trading setup there. Obviously, it's not the same computer, not the same size monitor. And it literally takes me like a day or two to like get used to it. And that's where I grew up. Like I spent my entire childhood in that bedroom. Yet when I get there, I'm still a little off because I'm so used to trading in Florida. And yeah, like even though it's the same in theory, the same charts, the same trades, everything is the same, just that change in setting, the change in location kind of throw you off a little bit. And it's weird. Like it shouldn't throw you off in theory because your decisions should be the same, but it just doesn't feel completely right. You have to adjust. I'm sure like if you ever, traveled and you traded, like it probably took a couple days for you to like feel yourself again.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when I went to Japan last time around, and if you're in my private Discord, you know this, that we started day trading in Japan. New York Open is at 10:30 p.m. So I'm jet lagged. I go to Japan because it's literally like 12 hours the opposite of us. And when I'm during the day there, it's like the middle of the night here. So then 10:30 comes around, and I feel like, hey, I just stayed up all night. I'm trying to trade, and I'm not gonna perform yet. So you can't be doing that and think you're gonna make money if you're not in 100% state of mind, because it's already difficult to trade and dealing with emotions and find the right setups and all that. And then you add all these extra elements that are messing up your trading. Even when I go back, like you said, you go to New Jersey, I go to California to go see my parents, and that's 3 hours behind, and now it's 6:30. And
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
again, it's just like a weird thing. And I'm very skeptical. That's like I like to have the same routine. Like I have the same iced coffee. I make it every single time the same. At 9 a.m. I have to be at my spot. I drop off my son at 7:30 a.m. It's like I try to keep it extremely like, hey, if I do this every single day, I do really well. So I don't know when I touch it. But when you travel, it's different. But I think if I had to, I think I could perform anywhere I was. Like if I
Yeah.
want to travel, fucking Dubai or whatever, I could trade there. But I prefer the way just having it locked in.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you'll get used to it. Wherever you go, it takes a couple days or a week. I actually have a really funny story, really, really fast. So this was, I think, in my second year of trading, maybe the end of my first or something like that. I was in Sweden for like 3 months, and I was trading from Sweden. I forget exactly what time it opened, but in the middle of the afternoon, that's when the stock market opened. And right off the bat, like I felt so off. It was so weird trading in the afternoon versus the morning. But besides that, I don't know what happened, but on my Thinkorswim, for everyone who uses Thinkorswim platform, in the top right corner, there's like the settings button where there's application settings, and you could choose how delayed your quote speed is, right? There's like real time quote speed, and there's like a 1 second delay, 3 second delay, and then there's a 10 second delay or something like that. I don't know what happened, but my quote speed changed in Sweden. Like, I don't know what happened. And I was trading for like 2 or 3 months on like 3 second delay. And
Oh,
for me, like with my style of trading, especially because I'm scalping, sometimes like a half a second can make a big difference. Half a second is the difference between you exiting on time versus you're late. And I was trading a 3 seconds delay minimum. It was like 3 to 5. And I was like, I wasn't doing well, struggling. I was like confused. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I feel off. Like, is it because I'm in Sweden? And then I still like, ended up making money there. Just like it was a little bit, but and then I came back to the States, back home, and my dad looked at my monitor. He was like, "This doesn't look right." And then I called in and I figured out for those 3 months I was trading on like 3 to 5 second delayed quotes, and I'm like, and then as soon as I switched it back, it actually felt normal again. And I'm like, "Oh my god! Like, how did that happen?" It
I
was
didn't even
crazy.
know Thinkorswim had that. And I've been using Thinkorswim for 7 years. I didn't even know that. I
Yeah,
didn't
they
even know they
have.
had that delay
Yeah, I don't
or that
usually. I
option.
think the default has to be like. I think when
Yeah,
you
real time
first
data.
create the account, you put like real time data, no
Yeah,
delay.
I think if you have it under like $500, they don't give you real time data. I don't know if it's still the same, and then you call them and they give it to
All
you.
right.
But no, I didn't even know that you could change that. And again,
Yeah.
not even just like even the fills. Like, hey, you think you're getting in the price,
A
and then
hundred.
it's like 20 cents off, or
No, exactly. Like it
it's
was
a big
It's
deal.
huge. It was so
Stop losses, everything.
confusing.
When there's news, and then you see it 2 seconds later. That could be a huge candle.
It was like ridiculous, and I was so. This was like a year in, right? Like at that point, I already had like some really good success with trading, and this was my first like rough patch. I guess rough patch, quote unquote. I was trading on
Mhm.
a delayed data, but like that was my first where I was like, oh my god, like is this really for me? Like, am I actually gonna like, is this
Yeah,
actually gonna
read
work
it
out?
yourself.
Like I was getting nervous. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm a year in. I was still in college. My parents were like, oh, like maybe you got to take school more seriously, and I'm like, no, like I want to be a trader. And then I come back and I'm like, it was such a huge sense of relief. I'm like, oh no shit, like that's what happened.
No,
You know what I mean?
that's hilarious. And then we were talking about last podcast. It's like it's all about confidence and like having them be like, damn, maybe I'm not that good. But then you realize,
Yeah.
okay, it wasn't me that kind of gives you that confidence boost again. And your dad's probably like, yeah, you see, I'm the top trader at the end of the
Yeah, 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 yeah.
day.
Well, the funny thing is, at the end of it, I actually still ended up making money. And then when I found out it was on delayed, I'm like, oh, if I could do it on delayed data,
It's even easier.
imagine what I'm
Little
gonna do.
handicap. You give yourself a handicap like in golf. You give yourself
Yeah,
a
yeah,
handicap.
exactly. So that was a very funny time, I guess. Looking back at it, it was funny, but in the moment, it was a little uncomfortable.
No, totally. And I know you've been in Italy, but here in America, we coming up to elections pretty soon. So I want to talk a little bit about. A lot of people ask me,
Sir,
have been asking me.
yes, sir.
Elections coming up, and funny story is my social medias blew up because the Trump Biden election. I made a video. My most viral video to this day was I think 16 million views on Instagram. I made a video that said stocks to buy if Biden becomes president, and then I made a following video stocks to buy if Trump becomes that president. I think one was 60 million and the other one was 5 million. Like insane,
Yeah, that's
right?
insane.
So we were asking me, Antonio, we're going back. What's gonna happen? Where's the stock market gonna go? You know, talk about it first, or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I guess I'll just
What do you
mention.
think about it, at least?
To be honest, I think a lot of people have this mindset that, oh, if this candidate wins, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to get rich and all of this. I think ultimately it doesn't matter all that much who wins. Like, I think short term, it's obviously going to create certain types of volatility in the markets. There could be different sorts of price action depending on who wins. But I think long term, it won't really matter. Just looking at like the SPY or you looking at the Qs, like on average, it's making anywhere between 8 to 12%. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I think long term we saw Republican Party, Democratic Party, stock market doesn't care. It's going to go
Exactly.
higher. But in the short term, I do think as an investor, and I really like long term investing a lot, is I need to look at the candidate. For example, I'll look at Donald Trump, and I know what I'm getting with Donald Trump. I know I'm going to get tariffs to China, so I might want to
Yeah.
avoid Chinese names. I know I'm going to get low taxes, so I know business should be doing better. I know he's going to talk about oil and pushing oil, so I know that might be a place that when I put some money in. So I know what I'm getting with Donald Trump. The issue with I have Kamala Harris, and I don't really care who you vote for. I don't really care about politics that much altogether. I care about making money mostly. Kamala Harris is like, I don't really know what I'm gonna get. Am I gonna get the same stuff that Biden's gonna get? That Biden gave me. She said that she wants to turn the page. She says she wants something different. So as an investor, the unknown is not what I like. What the stock market is never likes the known. Even if there's a negative news, but it predicts the negative news, the stock market is still going to do fine. But when you have something that it's not sure about, that's when you're going to get some downturn, some volatility where investors are like, hey, I got this. You got to think about these guys have billions and billions of dollars. They don't really want to risk that much. That's why whenever we had COVID in 2020, it was such a out there thing that people just sold everything. They didn't care. Hey, the market is down 20%. We just, hey, the circuit breakers, you can't really go down that much more. Still take my money out. Where at the point, it get to the point, it's like, hey, the S&P 500 is literally like free money if you just bought it, if you had done the right studies. But people didn't care. It was like, hey, I don't know what the hell's happening. I need my money out. So that's like the main thing that when I go into it, it's like, hey, if Donald Trump, Pump Trump got the nickname at the time, during the last 4 years that he was president, and we were enjoying, price going up. And also with the small caps tend to do really well if you put tariffs on Chinese names. Why? Because a lot of mega caps, such as Apple and all these companies that do business in China, will tend to get hurt more by the tariffs than smaller companies that are usually more local, U.S. based, even Europe based or whatever it is. So the Russell 2000, which is the smaller cap index, might perform quite better than we've seen recently, where it's been lagging way behind the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, which are mega caps based, and the mega caps have kind of overtaken everything pretty much. So there might be some areas where I'll be more interested in. Putting some more money in the Russell 2000, which I'm not in the last few years, depending on the results of the outcome. With Kamala Harris, I'm gonna have to be a little more careful. Like, I know she's gonna push green energy. I know she don't want tariffs. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know what she's going to do with taxes. I don't know what she's going to do with a lot of different variables. So I have to be a little more careful and stick to only the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, where I know my money is going to be safe 99.99% of the times.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
And one more point is, with Trump, I know with crypto, he wants to support crypto. He has done a whole 180 from when he was president last. He did not like crypto at all. He said he only cares about the dollar, so he was very against it. But he's done a 180 and he's supporting crypto altogether. Kamala Harris has not told us what she thinks about it. They've not really supported it, but also they've not really denied it. They've not really pushed it away. So I'm gonna have to stick to the big names, Bitcoin and Ethereum only. What do you think about the whole crypto space?
Yeah.
In general, I guess right now, because we're almost all-time highs again.
I think it's such a unique opportunity right now. And I agree. I think with Trump, we already had 4 years with him in office. We know what we're getting. Even if you hate him, and this show is not political, we're not talking about which candidate we want or anything like that. But just looking at it objectively, we know what Donald Trump is. Even if you hate him, you know what he is. Okay, you know what you're getting. But like you said with Kamala, it's a bit of uncertainty, and a lot of investors don't like uncertainty. And I think especially, I think that could 100% impact the crypto markets for sure if she gets elected. But I think we're sitting on such an interesting and unique opportunity in crypto. Over, when I was in Italy, I didn't do any trading, I didn't do any like business work, but the one thing that I did was a ton of crypto research. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm an early investor and that I'm a genius crypto guy. What I like to do is I listen to people who are qualified, who have had lots of success with crypto in the past. I combine that with obviously my own research, with looking at the charts, with understanding macroeconomic events, and that's how I make my investment decisions when it comes to crypto. But I think it's so interesting because the first fact of the matter is that retail is not in crypto right now. When it comes to YouTube search history, when it comes to YouTube search comments, Google search history, Bitcoin search history is at a low right now. I feel like you take 100 people off the street and you ask them what is going on with Bitcoin right now, half of them are going to tell you that they think it's still collapsed, even though we're like 10% from the all-time high. So the fact retail isn't in crypto. However, a lot of big institutions, a lot of countries are buying massive amounts of crypto. I forgot who it was the other day. Maybe it was the CEO of BlackRock. I forget exactly who it was, but he essentially suggested that he thinks Bitcoin is going to be the size, like bigger than the housing market by like 2040. Don't quote me on that, but some sort of statistic like that. Like the retail isn't in crypto while all these institutions are buying absurd amounts of it. And we're like 10% away from the all-time highs when it comes to Bitcoin. And for me, obviously, you're going to make money with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then some people who like Solana. But there are other, smaller, I guess, call it not sectors, but there's other narratives that I'm going to be following, specifically AI and gaming, that I think just holds like massive promise. And gaming was a big narrative in the last bull run. And I think AI is going to be a massive narrative in this bull run, especially with like Nvidia making the gains that it has and like real life institutional investing in the stock market with a lot of AI companies doing really well. I think it's going to kill it in crypto. What are your thoughts?
No, so I've been in the crypto space. I'm not again not an expert. It's not really my thing, but I've last bull run I traded actually a good bit. You're talking about a lot of gaming coins for some old followers of mine. I remember I used to actually called Shiba like before the 10x and a bunch of different names. That's not a gaming coin, but just so I was a little active in it. I've been a lot more passive lately. I've just been Bitcoin, Ethereum. Honestly, my last buys on Bitcoin were in the low 20,000 and just kind of just been holding it. Just because again, there's not been like too much of that hype. There's been meme coins, which I did catch
Going
a couple of
crazy, yeah.
opportunities with Powell. I think it was like a 10x, but I didn't put any huge amount of money in. So for me, crypto is always going to be a place where like I personally find a hard time investing in the altcoins long term. The issue being is like we always, since I've heard about crypto the first time, which was in 2011, I was on YouTube and I watched a guy buy tacos on a taco truck with Bitcoin. It was the first time I was like, what the hell? And Bitcoin is only used in the black market and the Silk Road and, 4 a.m. Google searches I was doing about it. I didn't buy any, unfortunately, but fast forward later, it's like they always talk about, hey, real life integration with a lot of this stuff, but it's like I never seen it actually work out. So it's really hard for me to be like, hey, I'm committing, and let's say I'm somewhat of a big investor. It's like I want to commit 50, 100, multiple 100,000 to these smaller coins because of the real life purposes. The way I see it is like use it to make money. And for me, my long-term investments are only going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum just because I cannot trust others. And that's why, like you said, a lot of countries have been buying it, especially since what happened between Russia and the US freezing all of Russia's bonds, assets that they had in the US stock market. So all these countries are like, hey, we don't really want to deal with that. We'll buy gold, we'll buy Bitcoin, we'll buy these other coins, these other forms of investments. But the altcoins are a little too volatile for my liking. Now, is there a world it's like you put a little bit of money to kind of hope you catch a huge return, and if you lose it, you don't really cry over it? I think that's totally a fine strategy. I think 5% of your portfolio, depending where you're at, should be kind of be put in those quote unquote moonshots. Even with stocks, some penny stocks you can throw it in, something that you believe in, and you just want to, give it like a low, high risk, high reward. And
Hmm.
then 95% of my portfolio is going to be more of the medium risk, which would be the Russell 2000 or some mid cap companies. And then the majority of my portfolio is going to be in the S&P 500, in the Bitcoin, in the Nasdaq, in
Hmm.
Ethereum, into real estate. So that's kind of like the way I've approached it, my personal investments. Now, when it comes to trading it, I'm a lot more comfortable trading altcoins because at the end of the day, the charts are the charts. If I see something on a daily, weekly time frame that I can put some money in and think I can catch a huge return, that's I think that happens almost daily on the crypto, and I think also following the news. If you're one of those guys that is able to follow the news and find the new hot coins before they blow up, you can make a killing. I've known friends that made tens of millions of dollars with small investments. Now those guys are far and few between. Most people, like investing, they end up losing money overall. But I'm not against anything that's gonna make you money. We're talking a little earlier. It's like, hey, this show is not political. It's always like feelings over here, and money is like the main thing that we're kind of worried about. As investors, that's your goal. Worry about money.
Yeah.
Now, whatever the political party or your beliefs are, that's usually secondary. As long as if you don't want to support a company because of their belief, that's totally fine as well. Um, but I'm always worried about like, hey, can I make money off of it, and how can I the safest way possible? And that's the way I approach it. You mentioned some. Do you have some coins that you're like really into right now, or like you don't want to say, or just
No,
talk about?
sure. So yeah, obviously agree with all of that. Like a majority of my portfolio is in Bitcoin and Solana and like AVAX, which are all like higher market cap coins,
Yeah.
especially Bitcoin and Solana. But yeah, when it comes to the altcoins, I think it's very important to understand that you have to kind of catch the hype. You have to catch the narrative. And if you can catch the narrative and there's going to be massive amounts of speculation, massive amounts of people who they want something riskier, right? And they're going to be pouring massive amounts. Like everyone refers to it as like altcoin season. It's usually like when Bitcoin dominance begins to fall. Like after like a lot of people, based off my research, are saying once Bitcoin hits 90 to 100K, that's when altcoin season is going to really get going. But the two narratives I'm really pursuing is gaming and AI. And I did a lot of research on gaming, and it's particularly interesting for me. And like I said, I'm not an expert. This is just off research that I did off of other, very qualified people. That when most people think of crypto, they think of, okay, we're going to make money off a Ponzi scheme. We're going to put money in, it's going to get hyped up, and then we take profits at the top. And the people who FOMO in, which is like 95% of people, they're going to lose money. But I think for the first time, we're actually going to see real life adoption, especially in the gaming community. So, for example, there was a video game that was just released called Off the Grid, and this was completely built on like blockchain technology. And there's, based off like my research, I'm seeing a lot of opportunities for not only game studios but for players to play games that are built on the blockchain, and it's essentially just better technology and it's better code, better programming than the games that are built that are not on blockchain essentially. So for example, like this game Off the Grid, which a lot of Twitch streamers are playing right now, completely built off blockchain and or on blockchain, which allows a better, more seamless experience for users. And there are millions of wallets that are now being created to try to essentially play this game on AVAX, for example, which is just very interesting. And for me, I'm going to be investing money into a gaming infrastructure. I'm not betting on specific games. I'm betting on companies that create infrastructure that's required to create the games. So, for example, for me, the top three that a lot of people are going to tell you is IMX, there's something called Super, and then Beam, and then AVAX, essentially. Those are the top four that I'm going to be investing in personally. Now, obviously, not financial advice. This is highly speculative, highly risky. But those essentially provide infrastructure for games. And just looking at the prices and the market caps, if you're right, and if we expect to see anything like what gaming did back in 2020, you could see truly kind of stupid returns. But again, highly risky. like you said, you don't want to be putting in massive amounts of money into these. Majority of your portfolio should be in Bitcoin, so Ethereum, Solana. If you do want to actually like have a stake in crypto.
Yeah, I remember in 2021, I think the gaming one was in 2021 or 2022. Remember two coins in particular that I even like traded was Meta Hero. I don't know if that coin's still around, and PYR. And both of those end up doing like 8 to 15x. I forget exactly. But with me, it's always been like, hey, I know the altcoin's probably gonna at some point
Go to zero.
go to zero.
Yeah.
So as soon as you're up nicely, take some profits. Be active with it. Don't just hold and hope. Especially if you're up nicely, because so many people make a good amount of money and they just keep holding it. Actually, I have a crazy story. So I had a student of mine. It was a year or two ago. There was a company he invested in. Forget the exact ticker. It's a penny stock. He had bought in 2016. He put $25,000 in, and he was up $958,000 in 2021.
It's like a 40x.
So you think this guy took profits? You think this guy sold it? He held it all the way back to $25,000. The reasoning he gave me, I said, we should, your wife should leave you. That's what I should told him. But he said because you want to see $1 million. And obviously that greed of 40 grand after you're up from $25,000 to $958,000. I believe the ticker was SONN. I might be wrong about that, but it was one of those tickers I remember blowing up during 2020, 2021. I don't remember if it was specifically that one, but I remember one of those tickers I would trade. It was like a penny stock I would trade. I'm like, damn, you've been holding since 2016? It's literally from like 5 pennies to like $50. And because of that 40 grand, he didn't take it. And he just held it and went all the way back to $25,000.
That's like literally everyone's mistake in crypto or like in investing in general. Number one, they either don't buy when it's at the lows, they buy when it's already made the move,
Yep.
or they buy it at the lows.
They never take profit.
Yeah, and they don't take profits. I think like for me personally, like because at this point I put a lot in crypto 8 months ago, and I mean I saw my portfolio drop like 20-30%. Just because Bitcoin remained sideways. A lot of my alts took
Gave it a little bit of a dip.
took a bit of a hit as well. But like for me, like I still have the same exact conviction. Like I think AI. Like I don't. Another thing is like I'm not researching every single detail about every single AI coin. I really just try to follow the hype. I try to follow the narrative, and I try to find the best coins in that narrative. And I listen to professionals, and I put a very very small amount of money in. But so right now, like I have a pretty nice bag in that gaming and AI sector. When it starts to, hopefully, fingers crossed, obviously, if it starts to pump, great. Every time I get a 2 to 3x, I'm going to take 10 to 15%. Goes another 2 to 3x, great, 10 to 15%, right? And I'm just going to continue taking profits. A lot of people, the problem is they want to catch the top. They want to sell at the absolute top. And it all comes down, I think, a huge thing is ego. They want to be able to think of themselves as that trader, oh, I caught the top. I caught when everybody, at the perfect location, that's where I sold. And that's their priority, as opposed to the priority of making money. That's the number one goal of all of this. Like that guy, why did he put in the 25K? To make money. He
made a ton of money.
He made a ton of money. Like that wasn't his goal. He wanted to be right. He wanted to make that $1 million, as opposed to take some, bro, even like 50%. You know what I mean? Or like 30%, anything. People have this need to be right, or to, it has to hit this arbitrary number that they set out in their mind. Like a lot of people guarantee this crypto bull run, they're going to be thinking, oh, I'm only going to sell Bitcoin if it hits 150K, hypothetically, right? Or I'm only going to sell if it hits 100K. It goes up to 95, they haven't sold, just because in their mind, they're like, oh, it has to be 100. They have that specific number that if it doesn't hit it, they're not going to take action. It's just so stupid. Like you have to take profits on the way up. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. I totally agree with that. And another thing also is like, I think a lot of people fall in love with the stories. Like there's a very few amount of people there that flipped $1,000 to $1 million. But we hear those stories because they're so exceptional, right? You had one guy out of 10 million people that invested in that coin that was able to do that. But now we hear about it because it's a crazy story. So everybody hears about it and they think that's normal. They think it's always going to be this humongous gains when it's not the reality of it. Most of the coins, most of the just trading in general will be smaller gains that add up over time. And then once in a while, you'll have the offset chance that you get really lucky, you get in, it pumps, and you make a huge bag. kind of like day trading. Most of the wins are going to be somewhat small. You keep it safe. You keep your stop loss in a very safe position. But sometimes you'll get in, the trade goes 100 points, 200 points in your direction, and you make a huge gainer. Like today, that was today. I took 3 trades. One was a loss, 4-point loss on yes. Then the second and third trade I got in, they were both shorts again. Price literally dropped 200 points on NQ. I never hit drawdown, not even for a second. I got to hold almost the whole thing because I'm just holding it now. I feel free about it. Same thing with yes. They had a 35-point drop, no drawdown. But are those the norms? Do I expect that to be every single time I get into a trade? No. But also, I've been doing it for 10, 11 years now, so understand that. But new traders think, hey, that's always gonna be the way. Every time I take a trade or I invest into something, I need to make a huge bag. When in reality, it's like your number one job is to make sure you don't lose your money because you're a money manager of your own portfolio, your own account. And then secondly, once you're up, it's kind of like that saying, making money is easy, but keeping is hard. It's like once you're up, take profits, or if you decide to take the profit and reinvest it, make sure you're not, a fool about it and end up losing all the gains you just made, because that's another big issue I see with a lot of people. They'll get lucky, kind of like that beginner luck in the beginning, make money either day trading or investing. Then the money they made, they're too aggressive with it and then just end up losing it all, right? And they kind of beginner luck run out. Another student of mine, kind of on the older side, but he ended up investing in Nvidia. I think it was like he put 25 or 50K in, and like they had some news overnight, and he ended up being up 300,000, and then he lost it all because he had a beginner luck with Nvidia that he got in, and there was some news, he made a ton of money, but he didn't actually have the skill to make that money. So then once he had just the 300,000, he thought that he could just keep doing what he was doing, and then realized it was just luck.
Oh, so he made it.
He made it and then lost all
lost
300. Trading it. He was trading it. He bought options, like $50,000 worth of options contracts in Nvidia. Moons overnight because they had some kind of news. Is up 300,000 and then trades it all the way back to zero. Because he thinks that's like, hey, damn, I'm really that good. You were never good to begin with. You just got lucky. Because sometimes in life, with trading and investing, you could just get lucky. Like we could have a monkey trade and it takes 100 trades. Some of them will work.
Yeah.
Because it's literally 50-50. It can only go up or down. At worst, it's 50-50. Most of the times, at least, unless you're really bad, and somehow, some traders have like 20-30% win rate.
Yeah.
So that's another issue I see beginner traders make. Kind of, they make the money, get lucky in the beginning. Even maybe even myself, when I first started trading, I kind of got the beginner's luck, and I thought I was really good, and then I got humbled very fast. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest things I tell people is if you double your account, let's say, take it out, because you're not twice as good of a trader within that trade or within a few trades that you were able to double your account. Take that money out and go back to how you started, because that's kind of the level that you're at. It takes a long time to really get better trading, right? Especially if you're not getting the right education or the right help.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. There's so many people that get, like, during 2020 and COVID, that was like literally everyone. You could have bought literally like anything and made money, and people thought they were professional traders. They thought they were, they thought they were kings, and they would quit their job. They would become full-time day traders, and as soon as the market turned bearish, they would probably end up losing it all because they wouldn't adopt new strategies. They wouldn't invest in their education. And yeah, I mean, I have people like that all the time that hit me up. And like sometimes they do like a consultation call or something. They're like, yeah, like I made this amount of money. Like, why do I need education? Like, I'm doing really well. I'm like, I sometimes would have to literally just tell them to their face, you got lucky, unfortunately. And you don't see that. You're blinded because all you see is dollar signs. All you see is your account growing. You don't understand that, like, if you continue on this path, you will 1,000% either give back all of your profits or even then some. There are people that make all this money, they lose it all, and then they continue putting more money in it as opposed to just investing in their education, which all comes down to like time. People just want to get rich quick. And it's a shame that, people, they don't want to spend time learning. They just want to spend time, making money. And this is the issue. It's so easy to open up a Robinhood account, put money in, and just start trading. And this is why everyone always cites this the statistic, 98% of day traders fail. I'm pretty sure like 40, I could be completely wrong. I think like 40% quit after their first month or two.
You might be in the first week, honestly.
First week, like something like that.
Crazy like that.
Like everyone,
which makes sense.
That,
you put $1,000 in, go Reddit or you watch some news. You're like, okay, what do you say? I'll buy that. You lose it. And you're like, this thing sucks, and you move on.
Yeah, and
You
then
know,
that's a failed trader. And then people
yeah,
look at that statistic and they're like, oh, yeah, like if 98% of day traders fail, why should I try it? And they don't understand that, like, if you want to pursue any difficult skill set that has the potential to make you a lot of money, a huge percentage of the people are going to fail because it's difficult and because most people are not disciplined. They're not going to put themselves in a position to succeed in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, I truly, and the funny thing is, people invest tens of thousands of dollars getting a college degree, 4 years of their life, and they're perfectly okay with doing that. But then when I tell someone, hey, you need like 3 to 6 months, I mean that's minimum 3 to 6 months to at least like, you know, uh, to at least like know at least what you're doing, and they think that's like way too long. It's just like it's crazy to me.
wait, and you know what's funny? What you said earlier, it's like, hey, I made money. Why do I need your help? You know, when there was Mr. Olympian, I believe it was a week or two ago, and C-Bum is the guy that won it, right? And he has a trainer. But people should ask him like, hey, you 6-time Olympian, 5 times Mr. Olympia. Why do you're the best in the world? Why do you need a trainer? Truth is, you always need an extra kind of help. Like maybe the trainer is not the best physically, but he has the science. He has the years of experience that
Yeah,
knows what's the best routine for Sebum to get the best out of his workouts, the best out
yeah.
of his fitness, the best out of how he eats to look the best and go win.
Extra set of eyes.
Exactly. And have the data, whatever, for whatever it takes for them to work out, right? Or LeBron, or you think about all these top athletes, it's like, hey, they're the best in their field, but they still have trainers, they still have nutritionists, they still have people to help them achieve their goal. And it's really big that people think they can do everything on their own, even when it comes down to running a business, right? Like if you have a business, it's extremely difficult to scale your business or be successful long term if you're the only one doing everything. You need to get people around you to help you. You need to get people around you that are smarter than you. That's the main thing. If you get somebody that's smarter than you to teach you a topic, to teach you about whatever, or help you in your business will grow much faster. And for me, it's like if somebody comes to me, it's like, hey, Antonio, I can help you get to this goal faster. I'm willing to hire that person or I'll pay that person to get me to my goal faster because I want to learn from people. Like, for example, I don't know how to edit very well. So
Yeah,
I'll hire a good editor that can do that for me, to help me. So
exactly.
a lot of people have an ego and they're like kind of like that thing. It's like if you want something done, do it yourself. It's more like you're not hiring the right help around you, or you're not seeking the right guidance to help you to get your goals. And you don't hire that help, and then you end up doing everything, and then you end up being a slave of your business or a slave of whatever you're trying to do.
100%. I mean, like I said, I'll bring it back to the college example. You are paying tens of thousands of dollars for professors that sometimes legitimately have had zero experience in what they are teaching. I went to Georgia Tech, which is half decent school, and I studied business there. And I had professors that legitimately had like they never did what they were teaching. They don't have any experience. This one time I had an accounting professor and I asked a very, very simple accounting question that was applicable to my business at the time. It was a real world question. I asked him about it. And he teaches like all levels of accounting at that school, at my school. And you know what he told me? He goes, you should talk to a real accountant. I'm like, you're the one that is teaching me. And it's crazy because people will pay tens of thousands of dollars for that. But when it comes to getting a mentor, for example, for learning how to trade or business or whatever you're learning, they'll be like, no, no, that's a scam. I'm not going to spend money on a mentor. And I think the problem is on social media, especially in the trading niche, especially on TikTok, there are so many of these like fake trading gurus who they just sell courses. They just, oh yeah, I made money in my Lambo. I traded for 2 minutes today. I traded off my phone too. You could do it too. Like they have ruined the perception of trading, and now everyone thinks that you have a trading mentor. You have someone who's helping you out with what you're trying to accomplish. They think of that as just a scam, and it's crazy to me. And yeah, like if like ever people that are watching this or viewing this, if you've ever played sports, you have a coach on your team. You have someone who personally shows you what to do. You have a nutritionist for professional athletes. If you want to accomplish something that's really difficult to accomplish in a fast way, the best way to accomplish that is to work with someone who's already done what you're trying to do and who has experience with it and who is a really good teacher. But even if they're not a good teacher, at least they have that experience. They could tell you, hey, I did exactly what you're doing. This is how you should do it. And people, they want to do it themselves.
Yeah, and like you said, it's kind of like some people kind of ruin the space. I think especially the last few years, like, because I've seen it from when sure the trading space was very, very few people teaching, learning, even just being interested in it. And that's when I was into it. Then the last few years, it's like you see these kids are like 18, 19, trying to teach people how to trade, and it's like not to offend, being ageist per se, but it's like you only have 1 or 2 year experience. It's really hard to teach a skill that you only have 1 or 2 years experience, or these guys are trading on like prop accounts. It's not even real money. They're trying to put, and they're trying to sell some education. Now, hey, if people like them and you watch a guy, you're like, hey, I think that's who I should learn from. I don't care who you learn from.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I first started learning, I learned from Timothy Sykes, which had been doing it for forever.
Yeah.
And he's kind of got a bad reputation to his name.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be here if I hadn't watched his ads. So, at the end of the day, I'm thankful for him. But, he does get a bad rep. So, it is what it is. But, like you're right. Some people ruined the whole space for, everybody else. And I think it's not just with finance and trading.
Everything.
I think it's everywhere. Like you have bad coaches in sports.
Yeah.
You have, you in business, you have people that do bad business practice. You have bad bosses and don't pay employees, or they do sketchy shit. So it's all just in life. There's always going to be some bad apples everywhere you go. You just be like smart and be able to see through it, which is not always the easiest. But it is important to try to avoid or whatnot. And for trading wise, how did you end up doing today?
Today was a very slow day. I ended up making, I think, like $800, but
That's huge for some people though. Like you say, $100 is a slow day. For some people, that's like a whole week.
yeah,
Working. So
it's so fun. So on Friday, I'll name some tickers. Like Friday, I had a pretty decent day. I was trading Nokia, NOK, which is like this.
is that the same Nokia like the phones back in the day?
Yeah.
It's just all around.
Dude, this thing, and like I knew it. Like as soon as I stepped on the charts this morning and I was doing my watch list, I knew it was going to be a really slow day, just because there was nothing. There was like nothing interesting.
Are Mondays typically slower for you?
It's because, like, for me, especially, we're entering earnings season where a lot of companies are going to be reporting earnings, and that's where it really picks up for me. I feel like most companies, I could be wrong about this, but I feel like most companies aren't reporting on Mondays. I don't know why, or I guess they would be reporting Sunday nights and then the price action, and then it would gap overnight. So I feel like, and for everyone who doesn't know, a gap is just an overnight change in price. So that's the way my strategy works, where let's say there's some news that comes out about a company, or in this case, it's earnings. Company releases earnings. The price of that company, the stock price, is going to change overnight, and it's going to open at a different price in which it closed yesterday. That difference is known as a gap, could create very powerful opportunities for me as a day trader, and I could kind of trade the bias that is created from that overnight change in price. And that's why earnings tends to be super busy for me, because lots of companies are reporting earnings. As a result, there's a lot of gaps in the markets. But yeah, I don't know. Today, like there was nothing in the morning, and then the Nokia, I just got like a decent amount of share size. It went up a few cents. I was scalping it, and then that was basically like my day.
Yeah, for me, so I keep some data set of like the best days, and Mondays for me tend to be really well.
Really
Now,
interesting.
Monday, what's interesting is it has the lowest volume and the tightest range of the week, which theoretically should not be moving like insanely. But for some reason on Mondays, I tend to do really well catching the reversal. So let's say price moves 100 points up, then I'm usually pretty good at catching the reversal to 100 points down. So that was kind of like what happened today. And for people to know, Monday has the tightest range, smallest volume. Thursday has the highest likelihood to have an extended range. So usually on Thursdays, you want to keep runners, you want to add to your positions because you'll push the same direction, and also has the most volume of the whole week. So it's like small like data sets like this that I think a lot of traders don't do the homework of on their strategy. Now, I don't know if in your strategy, do you look for things like that? Like which days tend to be better, or is it only comes down to like, hey, this is the news reports, and I'm just waiting for like those news, or is it simply just earnings reports?
So like it doesn't have to be earnings. Like even out of earnings, there's stocks that gap every single day.
Like with Nokia, you give the example Nokia. Was that like did Nokia come out with a new phone? Or coming
Oh
back?
no, so what happened with Nokia, I don't so Nokia gapped on Friday. So
But there was news behind it.
there might have been, yeah. The thing is I don't care about the news.
You
Like
just look for the
I don't
gap,
even
right?
look
Yeah.
at the news at all. There's a few exceptions. If it's a buyout, if a stock gets bought, if a company gets bought out, that the day in which it gets bought out, it usually doesn't move at all.
Well, because the price is set already, so
It's
investors are
set
like,
already,
hey,
exactly. So like I don't trade buyouts at
Activision
all.
was one recently, right? Did that go
Yeah.
through, or did that end up getting?
I'm not even sure. Like, but if that was a buyout, like,
Yeah, Microsoft was gonna buy Activision. Then the Department of Justice stepped
oh really?
in
I didn't even
to
know.
say that, like, hey, you guys cannot buy them because it's an antitrust law. So there was a whole lawsuit, but I think it ended up going through. I don't
Oh,
remember.
interesting. Well, yeah, if it ends up getting bought out, I'll avoid it. They usually don't move it exactly because it's at a set price. I usually also try to avoid secondary offerings,
Yeah,
which is like you have like the primary offering, which is the IPO, and then a secondary offering is like essentially the company wants to raise more money, so
dilute the shares.
they offer out more shares. Um, Ex dividends, which I just look at in the news. I'm not even too knowledgeable exactly what happens with that within the company, but like I don't really trade those. Sometimes I'll see it in the news and I'll avoid that stock.
Do you have a certain platform you use for news? Like, do you look at Bloomberg? Do you have like a subscription or like just a thing for
Honestly,
swim?
usually like once I pick out my favorites, like stocks to watch, like my favorite gaps to watch, I'll usually do like a quick little scan. Like I'll just look up on Google just to see if there's
Thinkorswim
major
has that,
news.
like a little.
Oh yeah, or
like,
sometimes
yeah.
I'll do that, but like literally 97% of the time,
You don't care.
I don't care about the news at all. Like Nokia on Friday gapped up, and like I did very well in Nokia on Friday. And the only reason I traded it today is because I did well with it on Friday. So it's like
kept it in your
I
watch
kind of carried it over on my watch list, and then this morning, like 25 minutes of the market open. It didn't even go up that much, like 6 cents or something like that, which is nothing. Like 6 cents is nothing. But if I had almost 30,000 shares. So, 30,000 shares, if you capture a few cents, that's some money right there, which is why I love scalping so much. Yeah, most of the time I don't even look at the news is almost irrelevant for me.
What about with time? Like, for example, with me, I find that I only trade within a small time window. To give you an example, 10 a.m. tends to be for the indices the time that price will more than likely have a reversal.
Reversal time, yeah.
10 to 10:30
10:30,
a.m.,
100%,
which
yeah.
I've been trading for like 6+ years, and like now it's like everybody's kind of like catching on. So
Yeah,
for me,
yeah.
that's the time I'm focused. Like 9:50 to 10:30 is like usually when I'm gonna find my trade and my spot to catch the reversal, because I will say 80% of my trades are reversals. Sometimes if I don't see the reversal, I'll look for the continuation play. While 9:30 when I get on, the New York stock market opens to 9:50 is just me preparing and waiting for price to hit a key level that within that time 10 to 10:30 is then when I'm looking for that trade. Do you use any time aspect? And another time would be midnight open. So the midnight level tends to be quite effective to look for reversals or continuation plays. 1 p.m. is another one that I really like, and 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is important. 8:30. 8:30 is important because of news, and similar with 10 a.m. A lot of times you'll have major like
Yeah.
news.
And this is Eastern, just for
Yeah,
everyone.
everything.
Everything's
Anytime you
Eastern.
talk about the stock market,
Eastern, yeah.
is Eastern.
I do the same.
Nobody
yeah.
cares about if you're in Australia. I don't care if you're
Yeah,
in Japan, in Italy. It's always Eastern because the
Nope,
New York
yeah.
stock market is freaking America in New York. So always
Yeah.
talking Eastern.
For me, like I don't really focus on what time of day it is. Like the 10:30 reversal time though, for sure.
Does it work for the penny stocks and like the smaller cap
For
stocks?
sure, like
or-
sometimes, for example, let's say a company runs up significantly, kind of with the market, and then between 10 and 10:30, it looks like it might be topping out. Like that, me knowing that it's a 10 to 10:30 reversal time, it won't be the only reason I take that trade, but it could be like an amplifier. It could add to
Confluence.
it's like a confluence. Yeah, I can add to my confidence that that trade is going to work out. But for the way that I trade, since I trade a lot of individual stocks, like I don't know what I'm going to trade every day. Like I wake up, I have zero clue until I go to the charts on what I'm going to be focusing on. Where your strategy, you kind of know, hey, I'm going to be trading
I'm
NQ today.
S&P and
Exactly. So sometimes there are trades first 10 minutes, all the money's made in the first 10 minutes,
That's
and
it.
that's it. There's
Oh, and there's
sometimes,
out.
yep, there's other times where all the money is made in the last 30 minutes, which is like kind of frustrating as a trader because there are literally times, especially when it's super busy, where if you step away for an hour, you can come back and miss like a amazing opportunity. And that's the one kind of drawdown to like my style. That's why, like, for example, I trade like obviously with my mentorship students, also like with my dad is in my group as well. He'll like text me if I'm gone. We kind of keep each other informed, like, hey, if he's out to lunch, hey, like there's something setting up right
Does your
now.
dad ever get on voice chat like, "Hey guys, we're trying this," or does he like to
No,
be like he doesn't like the
my dad's like a
attention?
ghost. Like he
Nobody
just he
knows who
just
he is.
listen.
Do people
He
know?
know he know
Like, do people know who he is in the chat? Like,
they
tagging
like
him?
no he doesn't even type in in the chat. He doesn't even type in the
Yeah,
chat.
I need to. We gotta find them. Gotta get everybody to
It's
find out
kind
who
of,
he is in the Discord.
yeah, it's kind of funny. Like he does no one he kind of just stays very low key.
You gotta get him a
Uh
webinar. You gotta get him on like to do a webinar, even if he doesn't
I
like show his face or anything.
I know. I
Yeah, on the podcast.
actually no for sure.
If you watch, obviously you know like Tori Trades. She had
Yeah,
recently
yeah.
done a podcast with
Her
her uncle
uncle,
that
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
We put like we change his voice. We cover up your
Oh no,
dad's face.
he could do it. Yeah, he would probably be happy to do it. Yeah, my dad, he like revolutionized like our system, like the system that I trade essentially. For everyone who doesn't know, he's the one who taught me. So yeah, it's cool to have him like in the group and have him like he like listens to me moderate all day. So for him, he always like it's a very kind of proud moment for him
Oh, sure.
because it's like, oh, I'm listening to who I taught, who I mentored, now like moderate for a bunch of people. You know, for a lot of people in the Discord. So yeah, it's pretty cool like moment.
No, yeah, I'm sure it's kind of like for watches football. You have Kyle Shanahan. He's the coach for the
Hmm.
49ers. His dad thought him out the coach, but his dad also thought a lot of other NFL coaches. So like the Kyle Shanahan offense or defense, I forget exact details, but like it's in like the tree line of like what he thinks NFL should be played, and then all these people are like actually applying it. So it's kind of like similar. That's like he taught
Hmm.
you these strategies, and now all these people are learning strategies, and they're all making money. And it's pretty awesome to get those texts. Like, when you were mentioning like all the money's made in the first 10 minutes. It's like that's what I love the most about day trading. When I sit down, 10 a.m. I take my trade, 20, 30 minutes. Like today I was $9,500 I made. 11
That's
a.m. I'm done. I close. 11:15 I make my I get my Celsius. I get my Ferrari. I go to the gym. Like, and then I
Yeah,
come back home. It's 1 p.m. My wife made me mistake. It's like the best day ever. That's like what the days I love day trading. I'm like, damn. But then the days I'm like grinding out the whole day, it's like not super. Like Friday was like this. Friday was just chop. NQ stayed in like a 60, 70 point range. Stop out at break even. Try to get back in. Lose. And it's like, okay, I'm waiting for it to break out. Oh, it's not doing anything. Like those days kind of suck. But whenever like the day is like perfect, it's like reminds me like, damn, that's why I fucking love day trading. That's why I spent the last decade learning about it and like studying it, right?
100%. Well, it's probably nice to know that like all of your trades are coming within this time frame,
Yeah,
and
it's
that you could step
super
away
nice.
and you're
Yeah.
not because there's times where, especially when it's super busy, where like I'll step away for like the last 2 hours just because like I have something else to do, and like even myself, I have this feeling I'm like, oh, I might like miss out on something. Like there might because truly like there's some days where everything comes in the last hour of the day, and you can just miss out on it. So that's why it's good. Like another, I taught my cousin. His name is Greg Trade. So maybe some people even here follow him on a
Maybe get
TikTok
him
or
on a podcast
Instagram.
too. We'll get
Yeah, no,
him.
he'll 100% come on. He's in Jersey now, but
Comes on,
when he
brother.
visits, he'll come on. Yeah, but we try to communicate too sometimes. You know, where if he's gone, he actually helped moderate my group when I was out in Italy.
So you had somebody kind of like
Yeah, he like
stepping in.
came on the mic and stuff, and like gave out
Some
calls.
ideas, watch the markets with them. Well,
Yeah, he'll
sometimes like you
trade with
don't even
them.
need to be like, hey, I'm entering this trade. Or sometimes it's just about like, hey, these are some tickers I'm watching, or like this is
Yeah,
interesting.
here's the
Like,
watch list in the morning.
yeah,
You know what
just
I mean?
or trading a group, right? Have some somewhat of guidance. I think that's like one of the best benefits. Like whenever you trade with some other people, it's not really like, hey, I just want to follow your trade. It's more like, hey, you kind of give me that guidance. I kind of have like a little bit more discipline in myself to not take a bunch of random trades. Because I think like the biggest issue beginner traders have is like they're just taking so many trades that they should not be taking because they're bored and watching the charts. They don't truly know what to look for. So they think all these movements are like, hey, that's a trade opportunity. That's a trade opportunity. When in reality, it's not. It's just, you gotta stay patient, but they're having a hard time staying patient because they just want to make money. And they're only focused on the making money. And I like to think myself is like, I'm really, really good. It's like, if my trade's not there, I'm not taking a trade. If I'm done trading for the day and there's a move later, I don't care that move just happened because I think I've like zero FOMO. I don't think I've ever felt FOMO in the last 5 to 6 years. But again, it took me many years to feel that.
Yeah, 100%.
Or remove that feeling, I guess.
100%. I literally, like this morning, for example, as soon as I stepped on the charts, like I said, I knew it was going to be like a dead day. I knew I wouldn't be taking a lot of trades. Before I even went over the watch list with my students, I told them, guys, like, today's going to be a slow day. I'm not going to be doing a lot. And literally, I took maybe 1 or 2 trades after the first 30 minutes. Like, after the first 30, I made my money. And then I knew that there wasn't going to be anything else. You know what I mean? And I told everyone, listen, guys, like, our job isn't to trade. That's what a lot of people, they get very confused. Our job as traders isn't to trade. It's to make money. Sometimes the best way to make money is to not trade at all. And it sounds so counterintuitive. But if you made your money, you know, like today, I knew as soon as I made, you know, I was like, yeah, $800. As soon as I made that, I'm like, you know what? I know today's like, there's not going to be much else today. I'm taking it easy. I'm done. Maybe I'll try something a little bit, but you know.
What's the saying? Sometimes the best move is no move.
Yeah.
Something like that. We got 5 more minutes, but we'll try to. So we try to end every podcast with some questions. So I have a few pulled up from my Instagram. Someone wants to know, can your strategies also be used in forex? Can they?
So my specific strategies or yours?
Yeah, both. You go first. I'll go after.
They can be used in forex, absolutely. I would just say they would probably be applied better on the higher time frames, just because I'm a gap trader. You know, for example, like the forex market, it does close, but it's mainly 24 hours.
It's like the futures market.
It's like the futures, mainly 24 hours. You know, or something. You know, it's with the
23.6. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like with the stock market, we closed and there's a lot of different fluctuations in price that occurs after the close or before the market open, which generates that gap that I talked about. And my strategy really works well with trading gaps on the smaller time frames. So I would say my strategies absolutely apply to forex. You probably just have to focus on the higher time frames.
With me is, since I do trade ES and NQ, you can trade indices in the forex, which will be SPX 500 and NAS 100. Some brokers might have US 100 and US 500. So if you just trade those, it's ascending. I'm trading just indices. So yeah, for me, it's we have a lot of guys in my group that trade forex. They'll trade a forex prop firm, and they just trade ascending. And we're trading just name different. Someone wants to know best way to scale your account from 0 to multi figures and six figures in the shortest time.
Like, I don't like the way that question is even phrased. How do I make multiple 6 figures from in the shortest time? Yeah, from nothing. Bro, why does it have to be in the shortest amount of time? Why can't it take time? You know what I mean? So I think the phrasing of that question just gives you everything you need to know. But yeah, listen, if you want to take like even 1,000 to 100,000, that's not gonna happen. Like, I'm sorry, you know, of course it happens to some people, you know, maybe if you're an extremely skilled trader, sure, you know, you could do that. But I think at that point, if you only have 1,000, just get a prop firm account.
What about 100 to a million?
Yeah.
You seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen, I think FX LSG, he flipped an account 100.
Did he actually do it though?
I mean, look, I don't know the guy. I never spoke to the guy. I'm very skeptical about it. Honestly, I don't think he did it. With the Forex markets, you can do a lot of sketchy stuff when it comes down to changing the prices, and I think he's really good at marketing. I'm sure he's a great guy. Me, if I had to bet, I would say no, he didn't do it. But, you know, a lot of people give him props for doing it, you know, but whatever. Me personally, I don't think he believes it. I don't think he did it, if I have to be honest about it. And, you know, even if I knew the guy and I was friends with him, I'm always keeping it honest. If I think somebody didn't do it, I don't think he did it. Hopefully I'm wrong. Yeah. Maybe he can, you know, prove me wrong, but I doubt
maybe he can come on the pod.
Yeah, I doubt he would now.
Clear it up for us.
But again, like Emmanuel said, to answer the questions myself is, You guys are worried only about the money, which I understand. You want to get into day trading because more likely you're broke. But the issue is you need a skill to make money. It's like, hey, I ask myself, how do I go to the NBA without knowing how to shoot a basketball?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Maybe learn how to play, learn first how to the basics of it, and then just get better slowly, slowly, slowly. And once you get to a certain level, before you even know it, you start making money. Once you focus on just the process and getting better, the money just follows. Because the money is nothing. The money is just something you collect once you've mastered the skill. So you get the skill, then you get the money. Paper trade, move to a prop account, move to a live account, and the money will come. So that guy,
100%.
that's your path.
Do one more.
Yeah, we'll do one more. What inspired you to make social media and help others? It's a good one. I don't really talk about that much myself.
Honestly, for me, number one, I really love teaching, which is interesting because I never thought I would have a passion for teaching, but I genuinely enjoy teaching. Number two, since my father taught me and I was in such a fortunate position where I just like acquired a highly sought after skill set that can make you a lot of money just because my dad did it. I got very lucky and very fortunate that I like the idea of me helping others and teaching others because, my dad taught me for free, obviously, and that's why I have like a free 10+ hour course. I have over 55,000 students watching it, and I actually get I'm fulfilled when people message me and are like, hey man, like I finished your free course, and by the way, like I had my first like $300 day, like thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done it. That's like people, it's actually fulfilling. Like it actually warms my heart. You know what I mean? So, and after you get those so many times, you feel like you're actually making an impact. And then whenever you post a reel or a TikTok, you feel like, wow, this is actually helping people. What I am doing is helping people. It's not just because I'm making money, but I'm also benefiting the community.
No, I agree with that. So when I first started, it was for me. I actually started during COVID. I was already a full-time day trader, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I want to learn how to day trade." Another friend was like, "I want to learn how to day trade." Another friend was like, "I want to learn how to day trade." So then I was like, "Well, I'll start making videos so I can teach people." Then maybe just start doing well on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. So then I found a passion. It's like, hey, I can help people. I started with one person, 5 people, 10. Now it's like thousands of people I've helped in the last few years. And again, it becomes that I love day trading so much. I'm so passionate about it. I love talking about it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it makes you a better trader too, because there's a difference between
1,000%.
knowing how to day trade, but then you need to even more of a mastery to know how to teach somebody how to day trade. It's an even more in-depth mastery. So I think overall, it makes me also a better day trader. Because then when I'm live trading with my students and explaining my setups, I kind of be like, hey, this is a really good setup. I just explain it. Everything we look for looks great. Let me enter. So it helps me as well. And as well, I'm helping making a difference around the world. I have plenty of guys that bought a car, or guys that quit their job. I have guys that in different countries that make a few $100, a week. Is a big difference to them, right? On the smaller accounts. And day trading is a skill that no matter where you live, where you are, if you do have a little bit of money, if you can save a little bit of money and actually apply yourself, you can make a difference in your life, right? Whether it's a little bit of money or it's a lot of money and you can quit your job, there's all levels to it. And, like you said, you have your course. I have 702 videos on YouTube now. So people can have probably takes, who knows how many hours of content that is for free. On top of just Instagram, TikTok, and everything in between. So it comes back to if you don't have a passion for teaching, it's really hard to teach people. So I think that's what it comes back to.
100%. I think we'll leave it off as one last point for me, but yeah, 100%. When you teach someone, it's not just with trading; it's a different level of mastery. When you're able to teach someone how to do something, it's crazy. Like
you need to know
you need to have such a different and unique understanding of that subject to teach someone. I became such a better trader after I launched my mentorship, where I trade live with all my students, and it's
funny as people will say, oh, anybody can do it, whatever. I'll sell a course. All right, do it. Get in front of live of 500+ people I do every single day. And help them make money without getting hate, without them canceling their subscription. I keep 90%. Every 10 people join, 9 will stay.
Yeah,
because I know what the hell I'm talking about. If you get on the mic, people can get on the mic.
It's not easy.
It's you need to be. It's a really hard skill, and you need to be really good at it. But again, Guys, go subscribe. I think we'll have a YouTube channel on Behind the Charts. Spotify, we'll have it soon. If we don't have it, keep an eye on the social media. We'll do once a week. We'll try to do it, maybe even twice a week. We'll see where this goes. Hope you guys enjoy it. Leave questions down below. We're getting close to elections, so go vote for whoever you're going to vote. So I want to tell people to go vote, make a difference.
100%. Your vote matters.
Yes, your vote matters a lot, to me at least, even if maybe it doesn't make a change.
It matters to me.
Yeah.
It matters to this podcast. Doesn't matter who it is.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Leave comments down below on what you guys want us to talk about.
Sir, thank you guys.